guys, welcome back to Miss Bullard's Classroom channel. In this video, we're going to hit another science standard for 3rd grade. We're going to start with a new unit online right now, which we did not get to cover before the break. So neither Miss Bullard's homeroom or Miss Sharp's homeroom have seen this content that I'm fixing to talk about. I'm just going to go into an overview of it right now, giving you some definitions and things like that. And then in another video, we'll go into more like experimental things and stuff like that. So the unit is called Pollution and Conservation. We have not talked about this. We ended with the five regions of Georgia, and then this would be our Unit 6, our last unit that we would learn in science. So I'm going to give it to you online since we're not going to be back in classroom for a few more weeks when we will be able to get it. So I have my paper right here, our study guide that you would have gotten for at the end of the unit for a test. I'm just going to go over the overviews of it just to give you some general knowledge. So let's start out with the definition of pollution. Pollution is a material that causes harm to our environment. So at the end of this slide, I will put some definitions and some facts for you to remember also. So that is our first definition, pollution. The second one is natural resources, which are found in nature. An example of a natural resource would be oil, air, plants, water, animals, and sun. So basically anything that is put here on Earth without it being man-made. So would a plastic cup be a natural resource? No, that was not just put here on Earth. Oil, air, plants, water, animals, and sun. Very good. You cannot go into a factory or go into a store and buy an animal that has not been made, that has been made by a company or something like that. An animal is something that is put here on Earth. A live animal now, not like a toy animal. Yes, you can go into a store and buy a toy animal that has been made from a factory, but not a real animal. So a non-renewable resource are resources that cannot be replaced in a human lifetime. An example of that is gas, coal, and metal, so it cannot be replaced. A renewable resource is a resource that can be replaced in a human lifetime. An example of that would be plants, animals, and water. Now moving on to another big word that you'll hear a lot in this unit, conservation, meaning saving resources by using them wisely. An example might be to plant trees and think about how to use less paper. So, for example, how we could conserve would be instead of, in class we do this a lot too, instead of me just printing off a lot of worksheets for each person in the group, I can print off just one that we can all use, and then I'll project it onto the smart board also so that everyone in the room can see it, and then we will use whiteboards to work out problems and different things like that. So we're saving trees and paper by not giving everyone in the classroom a sheet of paper, but giving one hard copy on everybody's group, and then one projected on the board to where you can still see everything if you had your own paper, but we're just saving paper that way. Also, when we take our test online, we're saving so much paper, because can you imagine if I gave every single person one page per question like is on Google Classroom, how many pieces of paper that would take up? Thousands per year. So that's another way that we're conserving. Water, land, and air pollution are the main types of pollution. There are many different types, but the main are water, land, and air. Water pollution can be caused by trash and oil in a river. So, a lot of times when you go to a local river or a local state park, you'll see many signs that talk about polluting and not to throw your trash in the water, because not only does that affect our environment, that affects the animals that live in that river in our environment also. So think about if you were to throw a bottle or a can into a river and a fish swallowed either a bottle top or a can tab. That is not going to be healthy for them, and that is not going to help them live in that river much longer. So that's why they ask that you do not pollute. You're not helping our animals, and you're not helping the environment either. The next one, air pollution. It can be caused by smoke from cars and factories. So a lot of times you might not see a lot of this in South Georgia, but it is happening, especially in Adel, because there's not many factories in Adel and not many that put off air pollution yet. When you get into your bigger cities and your more remote locations like Atlanta, you will run into a lot of air pollution. For one, there's a lot of cars there that are putting off a lot of fumes that are causing air pollution. And there's a lot of factories there that are putting off a lot of fumes and gases into the air. Alright, next one is land pollution. It can be caused by landfills and litter. So, just like I said at the river, if you're throwing your trash in the water, that's affecting the animals that live underwater and that's affecting the river. If you're just going down the road and you throw your trash out the window, that's affecting the animals that live on land and that's affecting our environment in the air. So, that's another reason not to pollute or litter. In a landfill, if we were in class, I would ask if anyone knew what a landfill was, and I would listen to their answers. I'm sure a lot of you would have stories about how you've been to a landfill or not, and a landfill is basically a spot of land that is open and the hole is dug, and that's where you can go and dump out trash or any other larger items of no use to you anymore. And this is also a type of pollution that can be, it's called land pollution. Now, reducing resources means using less of a resource. An example would be writing on both sides of your paper, refilling a plastic water bottle, and using an old milk carton as a flower pot. So that's also known as, some people would think of that as kind of like recycling, but you're just using it again. So if I was to use this side of my paper to keep my notes, I would flip over on the back and write more notes, not get out another sheet of paper. I would utilize the back of this paper. And we do this a lot in my classroom. I'll say, all right, now flip over and we're going to do our ticket out the door on the back of this paper. Using an old milk carton as a flower pot. You're not throwing out the carton, you're using it as something else. So that's how we're going to kind of get into recycling. Recycling is when you break down an object and create something new. Recycling is important because you are not having to use new resources to create new products. So there are many different things that you can recycle, and there are many different companies that are pro-recycling. I know that I use an ink company called Instant Ink, and a lot of your parents probably do too, and especially if they're teachers, because it is a company that sends me ink for my printer every month. Every time my printer starts getting low, it automatically sends me ink. And when I take the old cartridges out, they send me a recycling mailable folder type thing. And when I take the old ones out, I can put them in that sleeve, and it's already stamped, and it mails straight back to the company, and they reuse that cartridge. They're going to be able to refill it with ink and send it somewhere else to someone else who needs the ink. So I could just throw that away, or like I always do, I can just put it in that sleeve, put it in the mail. It does not take any time, and this company is not having to use a factory to make another plastic cartridge and put it more gases into the air. So that's a good way to recycle. And also to recycle, it doesn't have to be used exactly the same way. So say there's another company that does something like that, you can send that in and they will melt that plastic back down to be able to make something else. Plastic water bottles, you can recycle them. They can melt all that plastic down to make something else. So this is just a little overview of pollution and conservation. In class we always go over our definitions first and we put them on our word wall. We're not in a classroom right now to do that, so I just figured I would get all of our definitions and our concepts out first, and then we will, in another video, go over some more activities, and I will do something to let y'all know more about pollution and hear from y'all. I want to hear what y'all think pollution is, if y'all recycle in your house, and different things like that. So, if you will, just study these facts that I've gave you. I'm going to put something at the end of the video letting you know the facts, study over them, get to know them, and if you need any help, if you need anything from me, please let me know. At this time, we're going to go back to school closer to April now, so Hopefully, I'll get to see you guys then. I miss you so much. But I'm really liking the distant learning that we're doing on here. I'm getting a lot of response from it, and a lot of parents are texting me and emailing me, and they're really liking it too because a lot of them are already giving you things, and now they can use some of the stuff that I'm giving you, which is great. Remember, study your multiplication facts, study these definitions, and you guys are going to be perfectly fine. I promise. I miss you. I love you. I can't wait to see you. You'll have a good day.